Welcome to the You Can't Afford Me podcast, where we skip the fluff and dive straight into the grind. Real entrepreneurs, real struggles, and the unfiltered journey behind success. Let's get into it. Hey guys, Sam Anderson here. Welcome back to the You Can't Afford Me podcast, season 3. This is our first episode of season 3. This is our first episode here in the new podcast studio at our new location. Super excited, and I have a great guest for you today. This gentleman I met a month and a half, 2 months ago, something like that. He has some stuff that we're going to get into, but I was highly impressed with what he had going on, things that he was doing. So today I have on Nick Baker on the show. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
Very good, Sam. Thanks for having me. Beautiful
Absolutely,
place
man.
You have here.
I appreciate it. I'll slide you that $20 later for that. So tell real quick in like 30 seconds, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
My name's Nick Baker, and I started a business, barbecue business, about a year and a half ago, Nicky Bakes Grill, and last year was our first season.
Nice.
And we're really getting into the swing of things here this spring.
Beautiful.
So that's where I'm at right now.
Beautiful. So the thing I love about how formatted this show is we have entrepreneurs that have been in business for themselves for 50 years, and we have entrepreneurs that have been in themselves for 6 months. So I like people to see the variety because at all different levels, like somebody's gonna be able to pull something from this and really learn from it. Let me ask you this first. What got you in, like most guys, when the weather gets nice, we all like throwing a slab of meat on the grill, going outside, drinking a beer, preparing a meal for the whole family. Me and my wife have a deal. I do not cook on the inside of the house. I cook outside. You will never find me in the kitchen in our house.
It's a good deal.
But what was it about grilling that you said, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I can start a business with this?
It just kind of evolved because of the passion. You know, it's not work when you're having fun.
Yep.
So I just enjoy it so much. And I entertain a lot with my main business that I do. I have a lot of clients and entertain, and folks come over. And just to see somebody with a nice meal in their belly and happy. And I just felt like I had a little bit of a calling. And I've been smoking and grilling forever since I was a little kid. I was always
smoking meats. Get your mind out together.
Smoking meat. Yeah, you stop that. We're not in Colorado. So yeah, it's kind of evolved that way, and it's exciting, you know. And I'm getting a pretty good response. Nice.
So kind of break down, because are you doing this full time? How are you? What's your other income? Like, break that down.
Right. Okay. I think probably like a lot of young entrepreneurs, you know, we start out with maybe we call our real job, right? Our career. So my clients are dentists for the last 31 years. So I call on dentists in Richmond, Charlottesville, and Culpeper.
Yep.
And started this business off on the side, as I think that probably is the progression, and doing it mostly on weekends. But, I mean, the dream would be to do this full time.
Yep.
Whether that's brick and mortar or a pop-up on a permanent kind of space. I don't want to get into the food truck festival type. Yeah. That's not my, I think,
it's a complicated
direction.
Business model.
Yeah. And, you know, I always thought, Sam, and I might be wrong, but, if you have 5 food trucks, you know, people are having fun, it's wonderful. But if I've got 6 people in line and one person at the taco truck, you know, that 5th or 6th person all of a sudden wants Mexican food.
I've done that dude, I can't tell you how many times I've done that. I'm like, this food looks good, but like the other day they had at the park. Have you seen those videos where the guys, like, you bring your own bag of chips and they like put the meats, the salsa, like all this stuff on it?
I've seen something like that.
So they're real big in DC, and they came here to Richmond. Okay. A buddy of mine went. They had to wait 4 or 5 hours to get up to that food truck. I'm like, I don't care how good the food is. There ain't no way in the world I'm standing in line for 4 or 5 hours for something to eat. Sure. So with that transition, because I think a lot of people that are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs right now, or maybe in that process, I think a lot of people have the illusion that we just jump right into this. And it's like, screw your day job. Like, you got to go all in. And there are certain, I don't want to say celebrities, influencers online that are just like, you're not an entrepreneur if you don't go all the way in and you're still working a day job, blah, blah, blah. I caution people because, number one, if you're testing the waters for the first time as an entrepreneur, you need to see if this is something that you want to be doing full time. And the income that you start making at your side hustle, it's not going to be a smooth transition from replacing your day job to all of a sudden you're making way more than you need on the side. And it's like the decision's so easy. Oh, it's obvious. I'm making $20,000 more a year with my side hustle than my full-time job. I guess it's time to quit. doesn't typically work out that way. So for you, how will you be able to make that determining factor? Is it purely a financial thing, or are there other factors in play there?
That's an excellent question. Even though this is kind of part-time for me, I feel like mentally, I give everything. I'm kind of these wired person. I don't sleep. I'm always thinking, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just who I am. So I can give both of these things my time, but I truly have a lot of skin in the game and some investment in this barbecue business that I'm taking on. When does that balance come? I think the real decision for me in my business is either I go brick and mortar, or I go with a, more of like a food truck with the smoker, but I want to stay in a permanent location.
Yep.
And you bring it up, and this is where I'm glad we're talking and I met you, because I need some outside help too. You want to surround yourself with good people.
Yep.
My father always told me, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you better leave, right?
Yep. Don't walk out that room, run out of it.
That's right. And so maybe that's why we met, But I'm also deciding, I have some capital over the years, and do I put it all in, or do I get a couple investors? And I have people that would put money into this business, and I could start tomorrow. So there's just a lot of decisions that I need to make.
Let's pause right there for a second, because this was the first year. I've been in business 10 years. This was the first year for this business that I took outside money.
Okay.
And for the longest time, every business I've started from the ground up, and it was my sweat equity, it was my money, that sort of thing. And once I gathered the concept of OPM, other people's money, I started thinking, like, because it's on the personal side, you have to be able to divide between like personal debt and credit, between business debt and credit. Two completely different things. And I think a lot of people go into the entrepreneur game thinking of it like that. Like, if I took a reverse mortgage on my house and, pulled out $40,000, $50,000, like, what if this thing doesn't go well and they're going to take my house, sort of thing, versus like, you kind of have to bet on yourself. Like, when you're ready to take it to the next level, I kind of got to a cap where it was like, if I don't take on outside money, I can continue down this track, but it's probably going to take me another 10 years to get to where I really want to go, versus using OPM and really being able to scale this thing. But that was after years of it in the business. So let's pause right there and talk about that. For you right now, what would be the pros of taking on capital investors, and what are the things that caution you from doing that right now?
I think it's a great question. It's knowledge, right? And what does that agreement look like? Just in general, human nature for me. I didn't come from money.
Yep.
And I think I've done pretty well, and I'm proud of what I've established for my family. I just never liked owing anybody a nickel.
Yep.
And that's the mentality, but I need to transfer this piece of that into, this is a business. And it's not that I wouldn't take out some money out of the house or out of, my retirement or savings. So I don't know whether that's the way to go or other people's money.
Yep.
But I think this will be my first or my second full season. And I'm going to kind of circle back to this whole notion for going forward.
Yeah.
Either let's jump in, or, this is a hobby. And for me, mentally, it's not a hobby. It is a complete, this is what I want to do.
Yep. Let me stay on that for a second. So one thing that helped me kind of make that mental shift when it came to like outside investing or pulling this or pulling that is when I realized there are people that literally now at this point in their lives are making money from loaning people money, where I have a circle of I have some investors I can call right now and be like, hey man, I got a new idea for something. They're like, all right, I'm betting in Sam Anderson. I don't care what industry you're in. Let's go for it. And realizing that, if they give me $50,000 and they end up making $70,000, $80,000 within a year, they made $30,000 literally doing nothing but handing me a check and then getting the money right back. And that's where I'm now trying to scale, is like, man, I want to be that guy that can be an angel investor and just like, here,
Interesting.
Now, it doesn't sound as easy. I don't want to make it sound too simplistic where it's just like, you just hand an entrepreneur $50,000 and you can double your investment. It ain't like that. Like, you got to do your due diligence. But let me ask you this: with this business, I've always, because I think your model's a little bit different. You're not a restaurant. It's not like you're trying to go to that restaurant sphere and open up a door like that. every advisor I've ever had has told me, and I promised myself, because I've had a variety of different businesses, one business I will never own is a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because the employee base, normally they're like waiters and waitresses, they're generally pretty young demographic. They're all, sexed up and on drugs and drinking and all this other stuff, and the turnover ratio with those employees. And then you got to worry about, food spoiling if you're not, selling it off the shelves quick enough. For you, kind of explain your model and how you've gone about that.
No question about today's society, positive or negative. I grew up pumping gas when I was 13. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a work permit, so we snuck by that for a year.
Nice.
So I work. I work. And I think with this business, you hit the nail on the head. I don't really want to be just solid brick and mortar, but I and I don't want a ton of employees. Mm-hmm. And whether that's right or wrong, I'm a rather trusting person, but I'm not naive.
Yeah.
And I think with employees and HR and team harmony issues, I help dentists in their practice with that. And a lot of headaches in dentistry is the doctor does dentistry, but he has a headache because of team harmony.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So I think I can do this and scale this business with myself and one or two other trusted people that are my same demographic, trusted friends in the same space we would bring this on if we scale it.
Yep. But you're primarily doing like catering and private events. And things like that.
Right now, Sam, we do private events, which I call it a paid event. We do weddings. We did Benedictine High School last year. We've had 300 people.
Nice.
Rave reviews. Thank you. And some retirement parties, sales meetings, things like that. So that's the sweet spot. 40 to 60 people. We can really cater to those folks, and they walk away extremely happy with a full belly of food, right?
Yeah.
I do have that. The Lava Bliss is where I really started with this lava dessert cake.
Let me show them a little bit of that. Guys, this is when I first met Nick. I had his lava cake. We were at a training. Dude, all right, so you put this, let me let you describe it, because the way you described it sold me at that meeting.
Yeah, it's a microwavable safe cup. It's an 8-ounce cup, and it's called my Lava Bliss. And I'm my strongest critic, so I've gone through lots of different things, but we landed on this, and it is delicious. So folks that like chocolate, I deliver these to all small businesses, and I'd like to really scale this piece of it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to learn from us and our relationship that we're going to develop, and I'd like to do business with you so we can come to a median here, but we can do some catering with that and then bump up the private events, and then eventually then it would be, I think, more of a food truck with the smoker, but again, more in a stationary place, and then that sounds like brick and mortar restaurant. But I don't look at it that way.
No.
I'm looking at
that's two completely different models.
Street traffic, right? Core group of employees. I think I can handle it. We could do it. I think the product's good enough.
Yeah. What was the line? You said a line at that meeting that won me over. I was like, I can't wait to get home.
That's funny. I didn't even know what I was saying. I was just kind of stood up in front of a bunch of people, and I said, this is my Lava Bliss cake. You take the lid off, heat for 40 seconds. I said, if you like chocolate, you might just see God.
Yeah, and for me, I'm the toughest one to please when it comes to chocolate, because I'm not a big chocolate person. Like, I like brownies and stuff like that.
Sure.
But like my wife and kids are like obsessed with chocolate. I've never been a big chocolate guy. I kid you not. When I put that thing in the microwave, I saw God. He was looking right at me in the face. This was literally one of the best desserts. I have a huge sweet tooth, but chocolate's just not my thing. I could eat these every single week, man. My waistline wouldn't like me for it, but I could eat those every single week.
Thank you.
No, the thing I like about your model is that you're kind of eliminating some of the risk with that. So, like, let's look at a traditional restaurant. You just have to buy product and hope and assume that a certain level of clientele, you're going to get a certain amount of traffic per week, per month. With your model, you're booking the events. You know exactly how much product to order, so there's no like spillover or anything when it comes to that. With the area that you're serving right now, do you see yourself expand? I know with your day job, you're like in Charlesville and different areas like that. Yeah. Do you see this expanding to different areas, different places you can take this? Well,
I first have to, get there, right? Mm-hmm. But if that's the decision, there's so many things. Is it other people's money? Is it my money? Do I really jump in full time? And if that's the case, absolutely. Have I thought about multiple spots? Of course, yeah.
Gotcha.
That would truly scale. But there's a lot that goes with that, as you know, because we want to put out a consistent product.
Yep.
You want to be able to go to Charlottesville and have Nicky Bakes Grill and taste the same in Richmond.
Absolutely.
So I know there's a lot that goes into it, but I've never looked at myself as that I would ever retire. I wouldn't know what
Same
to do.
here. Yep.
I just wouldn't know what to do.
I'll be great until I'm on my deathbed, man.
I know you will. I know that for sure.
Let me ask you this in a general statement. I don't necessarily need you to get specific with your model. But for somebody who's listening, there may be somebody listening to this right now and they're like, man, I love, like, my family's been telling me for years, like, to get this food truck going, or like, I'm the man on the grill anytime there's a party or graduation. If someone was looking to get into this space and do this on a solo level, and I know you have other people that can jump in and help you from time to time, but if you're going out as a solopreneur and you're looking to start a model like this where I got grills, I got meats, I'm booking private events, if someone went all in on this based on your research, what could someone make per year with a model like this?
I think because your overhead, believe it or not, when you learn how food prices go on sale, everybody knows that food prices are high.
Yeah.
Ironically, in this business, if once you know your quantities and your meats, you can lower your overhead extremely. I don't see you having a lot of employees if you're going all in.
Yeah.
I think you could easily make six figures doing this. You have to be smart. And I'll tell you a funny story. Again, been smoking meat and grilling for so many years. I think I had a green egg, which everybody, if you're a foodpreneur,
the best chicken wings of my life. My buddy cooked chicken wings on an egg.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Delicious.
The crispiness, like juicy on the inside. I got to have my wings crispy on the outside.
Yeah.
They were cooked to perfection.
Yeah, the green egg is a great tool, and I still have mine. I've been a green egg guy for 18 years. And so that's how I kind of really just got started. But the first couple of events I did, and this is what I'd say to somebody in this space that wants to do this, this is one of the biggest mistakes that these folks make, and I made them. Believe me, I made those mistakes. You'd be amazed at how much people will enjoy your food if it's good.
Yep.
But the first notion is I have to have enough food. And Sam, I had enough for an event times 3 on those first couple events. So, you're going to learn the process. You're going to learn where to source your foods and things like that. And that would be my biggest advice is get your portions right. Find your sourcing of your meat that's got to be good, and your vegetables and all the things that you do.
So talk about that. So number one, that's a great point. People need to understand when you start a business, I don't care how much you've read or how many seminars you go to or how much you've been doing this on the side, you will make mistakes. Yes. You will fail. Success does not happen without failure. It's guaranteed to happen to you. Where do you, like you talked about food sourcing. So I assume you're not just going to Kroger or wherever to get your meat. Like, are you working with a private vendor? Is that how you're able to keep overhead costs at a certain level?
I looked at some restaurant supply stores. And again, I use this word, but ironically, if I'm a big Costco guy, okay, and I'm a big, this may shock you, Food Lion guy. And I'll tell you why Food Lion. Yeah. And I can't say it on here. I have an acronym for Food Lion. But anyway, the Smithfield meat, right? The extra meaty ribs and the St. Louis.
Yep.
They're all packaged, and the same delivery guy that drops them off at Food Lion, his next stop is Costco. So there's no difference. It's the same source. Yeah. And so you have to educate yourself through this process. Now, I would say, to make a point, I would never buy a steak at Food Lion ever, okay? But would I buy chicken wings? Absolutely. Purdue chicken wings, Smithfield ham, Smithfield ribs all day long. And you have to look out for those sales. And they come on sale all the time. $1.99 a pound, and you get pork butt for 99 cents a pound, the same exact butt you get at Costco. So
those all happen at a certain time. Like when I was heavy in the sneakerhead community, I knew a guy that would go. He knew because every now and then, like Marshalls and TJ Maxx and places like that, they'll get like some real sneaker heat that like is expensive.
Yeah,
but it's in there for like $50. So he got on the truck delivery system where he knew the last Tuesday of every month that truck came and he needed to be there at 9 a.m. to get the first crack at it.
Yeah,
is it something similar with that where you know when their delivery times are?
Very, and during the holiday seasons, depending on we typically might eat ham during Easter. Those things are always on sale, but it always helps helps to know people.
Yeah.
So I've got my 3 produce guys in 3 different locations that literally will text me. They're full-time workers at these locations. Say, Nicky, we got sale going. Let's rock.
You got the relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a people business, right? You're going to feed people.
So how did you develop that relationship with those guys?
I talk to everybody. I don't know a stranger just like you, my man. We just talk, and people make the world go round. And I've learned a lot from these folks that work at the grocery store.
Yep.
Where do you pick the vegetable from the front to back, side to left? There's a whole dynamic there to get the freshest food. But you have to go out and buy a couple deep freezers because when they're on sale, then you put them in the freezer.
So how long, like if you get a rack of ribs, like stacks of racks of ribs, how long can you keep those in the freezer before it's like, all right, these things are going to turn on me?
Well, you can keep meat in there as long as it's vacuum packed up to 6 months. I never keep it past 3 months.
Okay.
Most of my stuff is rotated with dates and stickers. So if anything, you may have a pork butt that was in a freezer for 2 weeks.
Nice.
If I have a sale and I acquire the meat for the event, you can do 7-10 days just in the refrigerator. And those dates are all on there.
Nice. Let me ask you this. How did you get your first client?
Word of mouth, talking about it, and having clients come over that just enjoyed my food.
Is this after you launched the brand, or did this preemptively happen where it was kind of one of those things where it's like, hey man, like so many people are asking, and then somebody finally comes up to you like, hey man, would you be willing to do this at my kid's graduation party or whatever? Like, break it down for us.
Yeah, that's interesting too. You ask a lot of good questions, Sam. I guess that's what you do. It was a combination. I always had people tell me, hey, man, you need to open a restaurant. You need to you get that, And so I started thinking about it seriously, and I really did some deep dive into barbecue and smoking. And I think I acquired a smoker out of Dripping Springs, Texas, and the #1 smoker brand in the world.
Which, by the way, how much do smokers typically run?
Well, it all depends, but
because these aren't Blackstone grills that you get at Lowe's for $350.
These aren't something you can get off the shelf.
Yeah.
Like your Mo Cason, your Franklin Barbecue, Terry Black, ZZ Barbecue right here locally in Richmond. Outstanding food. They have Moberg smokers only. So I was on a 2-year wait list.
Yep.
So I've invested in the equipment. And that's half the battle. So maybe I'm not that good of a smoker and cooker. It's just the equipment. But I want people to know that, we're doing the best we can to provide the best food. And I'm just in the infancy and have, like you said, so many different challenges, so many obstacles. I don't look at them as obstacles, more challenges, but I'm trying to tap into sources to help me and then invest in where my marketing piece is going to be and how we really go.
Nice. Let me ask you this last question as we wrap up.
Okay.
This is how I know I'm getting old, because I had a great question in my head and it literally just went right out the window on me. That's what it was. Describe to me that first moment because I can tell you, when I quit my corporate job, I used to work in mental health, and we all, as you did, I had it as a side hustle before I quit my corporate job. I'll never forget the first moment someone wrote me a check, and it was for $400. Wrote me a check that had my company name on it, and I literally sat in my car before I went into the bank. I sat in my car for 20 minutes just staring at that check, and it was just dawning on me that like I didn't need a boss to provide this check that's in my hand right now. I didn't need X, Y, and Z. I didn't need all these other things that I thought I had to have in order to be able to generate an income. And it was just the most eye-opening moment for me that like, holy crap, I did this on my own. I went and found the client. I put the deal together. I made it happen. And now there's checks in my hand. Describe that first moment where someone gave you money for your meats and your barbecue.
So similar that I have every check that was written to me in where I keep all my bills and my private
Man, I wish I had
information.
done that.
I have every one, and it's from the start to current. So just like you, I got that check, and it was like unbelievable. Like you said, and I'd like to learn a lot more from you in the future as we develop our relationship.
Absolutely.
Because you're doing this and I'm doing food totally different. But I think there's so many common denominators.
Oh, absolutely.
And speaking to you about how you've scaled business. So I think that's something for another day. But yeah, that first check really represented independence, and that, folks feel enough that they've even hired me back. So I think we're doing something right. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Biggest compliment you can ever get from someone is when they come back and do business with you a second time, because it means you did something right. But I want to highlight, as we wrap up, I want to highlight one gem that you dropped there, that for your first smoker, you had to be on a waiting list for 2 years.
Yes.
Now, most people would start with this idea and say, this is what I want to do. They find their smoker. They may not even get to the point, they may just hear it's a 2-year waiting list, like, guess this isn't meant to happen. The fact that you were so invested where you're like, I don't care if it takes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, like, I'm committed. I know this is what I need in order to make this happen. And you're waiting that out. I think that's where a lot of people get weeded out of entrepreneurship. I'm actually thinking about doing an episode where I fully try to convince people not to become entrepreneurs, because this is
not for everybody.
Dude, it's not an easy ride. People think like, oh, you get to be your own boss. Like, I'll never forget when I quit my job and I had my first business going for about a year, and my mom would like want something, and they live in Lynchburg, and obviously I live here in Richmond. And she'd be like, oh, just pop down and do this or whatever. I'm like, I can't. Like, I got work to do. She's like, well, you're the boss. Like, you can determine when you work or not. I was like, it does not work like that. So like, if you're in the meat business and somebody calls you and says, I have a party at 3 p.m. on Saturday, we want to hire you. I gave up one boss to take on hundreds of bosses.
I like that.
That's literally what you've done.
That's interesting.
So if you don't have the stomach, if you're not in this for the long haul, like I tell people, if you're not willing to do this for at least a year and not make a dime, don't even start.
I agree.
Because that's probably what's going to happen. You're not going to make a killing. You're not going to make 6 figures right out the gate.
No.
Matter of fact, you may go in the negative like within your first year.
Sure.
But it's the ones who stay with the longevity. Same thing as investing. Like, if I jump into cryptocurrency right now, I may lose my shirt in a month. But if I'm invested in crypto for the next 10 years, that's where wealth is created. Yeah. So same thing on the business end. Like, people just have to get this understanding. So that's a major gem that you dropped that I don't think a lot of people picked up, so I wanted to highlight.
Sam, I always use this term, you can't be half pregnant. You got to be all in, you know?
Ooh,
you just
man,
can't.
Put that on a T-shirt, man.
I
We need that.
I was saying forever. And you can't. You think about it. And then just to follow up with what you said, the off-stick smoker that these big barbecue guys have, you taste nothing like it.
Yep.
You really don't. You know a difference between going to a picnic and eating barbecue and getting something off of a vessel like this and what it is. But yeah, I'm excited. I was so thankful that you invited me here.
Yeah, man.
And to meet you. You've already plugged me into another gentleman, but we will do some business.
For sure.
I can know that this will be a long relationship.
Definitely, man. I
know that.
I've had the cakes. I haven't had the meats yet, so I need to know. I need to know your next event so I can sample some of those ribs.
Well, I'll be at the Darryl Green outing with
nice
youth outing with Joe Dunn and volunteer. We're going to be set up on a hole doing pulled pork barbecue sandwiches for every foursome that comes through.
Beautiful.
This benefits the youth of the community. So we're excited about that.
Yes, definitely go out and support our buddy Joe Dunn, support Nick.
That's right.
And
Sam Anderson.
A tip on that too,
man.
While you're there, you have to get video clips of like your Darryl Greens and guys like that. Like, hey man, Darryl, tell us how's that saying? Like, that is marketing gold for you, man.
Yeah.
If people want to reach out to you, they want to book you, they want to get a hold of these lava cakes, how do they reach you?
All right, there's a couple ways right now. I'm old school right now. That's why I'm talking to my man Sam Anderson. It's 804-869-2233. I have a Facebook page, Nicky Bakes Grill, and we have a handle at Instagram, Nicky Bakes Grill, which will start loading content in April. Sam, thank you so
Absolutely,
much.
man.
And